Hello, ladies and gentlemen. A new WTF is what the bloody hell am I playing? Shadow Warrior. This is what I have been playing now. I will try to get a review out now. This is basically my first impressions. I am about 8 hours into the game and probably guessing about 2/3 of the way done. This game, in and of itself, I have to say is that so far this might actually be my game of the year. Now, why am I already thinking that this game may be the game of the year for me, for at least in the or at least best first-person shooter of the year? That I'll give it that if it's not game of the year, it's first-person shooter of the year, best first-person shooter. And the reason for this is that this is a game that melds the modern with the old style. This is a reimagining of Shadow Warrior, which I have played before, really loved and adored, thought it was a really great game. Now, I will still think the original is a better game, but that's just me. They're both really good games. Now, this game really does something well with its style and how it has everything going for it. The level progression of weapons, your stats, or your powers, your skills, everything is done to make you more and more powerful. Now, the longer you play this, you're going to have a cornucopia of different powers from weapons. And so far, it looks like by the end of the game, you'll have either everything unlocked or almost everything unlocked. And in and of itself, you do have a very large ability to use all these different weapons, these styles, these powers, missile launchers, shotguns, machine guns, flamethrowers, crossbow bolts. Now, the game in and of itself does focus heavily on sword combat, which is my slight disappointment of this game, because I would love it to be more for everything else. Now, to really get these high scores that the game is kind of edging you along, you really have to be killing tons of enemies. You're going to have to do it quickly. You have to take very little damage to no damage, and you got to be using it in spectacular, over-the-top ways. And that in and of itself, of making a game that is completely and utterly designed around speed, movement, being extremely ass quick, it is something that I have to say is very good to be putting games that they at least are forcing people not to take this very slow and methodical mindset about taking down people. That we don't, okay, you get hit, hide in the corner. No, this is fucking duck, dodge, juke and jive around everything that comes at you. Now, it is designed to make it easier for people who don't have much experience or are not good at games themselves, especially first-person shooters, and they do this by having you have the ability to do a power that regenerates your health. I believe you get that immediately, and when you do the upgrades of your weapons, if you do special attacks, you will also regain health from this. And this is a design philosophy that it allows you to constantly and consistently be in the action, up in the front, killing people right away. Now, I would suggest anyone who has any iota of skill in first-person shooters, bump it up to a harder difficulty, because you're not going to be getting a challenge, especially when you start putting in the powers to make yourself more powerful. And yes, it will, in some cases, it will be a necessity to upgrade, so you can't entirely say ignoring the level-up system, because some of the level-up systems allow you to even use the enemy's creatures' weapons against them when you take off the guy's head. This is the simple stats screen. They are actually has a lot of depth with it, because each upgrade does different things. Some of them increase their duration, increases the distance of where it can hit. Another one says it will slow people down. It'll make you take less damage. It will also, whatchamacallit, if the enemies get super enraged and it makes them do more damage and attack quicker, you use your power, it will stop them and make them no longer want to attack you or scare them. It's like you do have something that is very, very depth and complex, that I, for one, am darn right just shocked at how really good this game is. Now, from a technical standpoint, I'm not this big tech guy. I would ask another buddy to really go down to this, but this game, be it my computer or whatnot, will have a tendency to chug when things really get going. And this is not a knock against the game whatsoever. This game is that good that you'll occasionally run across it, but it actually does not harm it as much as I would think, because everything slows down. It doesn't exactly chug, but things start slowing down. And it's something that, yes, there's a problem that, yes, if you don't have a super beastie rig to run this stuff, you're probably going to have problems. Now, that in and of itself, and most of my complaints are really basically nitpicks. Nothing based on actual, this game is a bad game. And that is why, and this is the thing, is that the game's design is very, very linear. You'll have some backtracking, but this isn't like the previous Shadow Warrior game where you're put in a map, you gotta move your thing, you gotta find your secrets and stuff like that. It's pretty much, you're led down the road, and if you want to kind of turn off on a side street in this game, it goes immediately to almost a dead end, but you will be able to find your special powers. And that is the thing that really gets me excited about this game, is that for those who know old style games that always said, okay, look in corners, look in different places, you're gonna find 90% of the secrets on each mission. I would say, because most of the time I find minimum like half to 3/4. More often than not, it's 3/4. But that's the thing, is that if you're used to games that you don't hold your hand completely of going, okay, here's the little waypoint where you have to go, you're not gonna have that much of a problem. This is a very It also has the thing, is that it takes a very tongue-in-cheek approach with everything. Everything that comes out of Lone Wang's mouth is designed to make you chuckle. Now, if you don't care for very stupid humor, you're going to get offended, or if you're easily offended, you're not going to like this. Now, to those people, I'm going to say, shut up, don't buy it, this ain't for you. But this game is completely designed around being silly and making people laugh. And that is in and of itself what makes this game so good, is because it is not designed to be serious. It's not designed to be this, I'm serious, I'm doing this. It's designed to make you laugh continuously and constantly, and hold your attention with something just enough to make a smirk on your face appear and make you feel like a badass ninja-ass assassin. Which you, as Lone Wang, are an assassin in this game. Now they do take a lot of liberties with this game, but they did and this is what I think I like the most, is that they did focus more on sword combat, which is a very good thing to do, having these powers and having these magical things and doing all these things. But if you're a big first-person shooter, you're going to kind of be slightly disappointed, because you do have a large variety of weapons to work with, but they don't seem to be as efficient, as effective, and as important to getting the best scores at the end of the match, or end of each time, to get extra points when there's a big battle royale like you see right here. That more often than not, to get those high points, you're going to be using the swords, your magical powers, more than anything else. And that is my only real disappointment. But as it is, that is just a nitpick. And as a whole, this game does promote you to jump around and use different weapons to take down different enemies. And that is something that I'm glad that they do have, is that when you come across enemies, you can use whatever weapon. There is nothing forcing you to 100% entirely go the sword, but you'll probably, if you use the sword and the magical powers, you will probably have a larger enjoyment out of this. And they do have flying enemies, big enemy beasts, ones that summon demons, some of the skeleton ones, and it really does give this illusion and give this a feeling that you are being attacked by this invading demon, since they do have product placement for other games, shameful and tactful, and at the same time, everything about this game is designed to be tongue-in-cheek, and that is probably why, for the most part, it will never bother me as a game.
That is one ugly-ass shotgun.
Yeah, shotgun. But no, that's the thing, is that after playing the original and adoring the original one, this does feel like a slight letdown, but as again, this is just nitpick complaining, but as a revitalization of the old-style first-person shooter with modern accoutrements, it is not a bad thing that they've done. Everything is designed to be a modernization of the original, and everything is designed to they've designed everything to make you feel like a badass ninja assassin, whatever Lone Wang really is. They've also designed it to really push this story, which is a very simplistic story. Demons are invading, you gotta stop them. That is the most basic, straight up thing of what this game is. And if you want a more depth and complex game, you ain't gonna find it here, But if you just want a silly game that just strings everything together just enough so you can kind of laugh at everything, you're going to enjoy this. And it's all about expectations about this game, which I think what really keeps a lot of the professionals saying it's no more than 3.5 stars, or 3 out of 5, or 3.5 out of 5. It's like, it's a very good game that does not have actual real significant issues or problems with it. It's just that it's not a game that many people are used to as the overall whole. And that's the things that with everything that's being done with with this game in particular, is that our expectations should be on the merit of this game in and of itself. And that's the thing, is that that other than the fact that we can compare in reference to older games, like older Shadow Warrior and other games, that we need to learn is that we have to see what the game does on its own merits, and not just be mad that this game doesn't play like a Call of Duty or a complete clone of previous editions. Because if the game is a game can teach itself and have its universe described through its gameplay, which in this game is very much done, this crazy, fast, frenetic thing that just constantly is over the top and crazy. And that is probably why this game is probably why I do adore it, and I think it's a very good game that people should give a try, because everything you see, everything that's done, is designed for this crazy, over-the-top gore fest like of games of old. And that when games really do realize that to modernize, you can still keep your roots very solid with you, that you can keep it from the beginning as a over-the-top gore fest with crazy weapons and crazy things happening in a silly atmosphere and silly tones, and still have the modern ability for anyone to play the game, the ability to add depth where there wasn't depth in the original, and add so much more to make the universe, or flush out an actual universe, more than just having a straight up kill everything and just kind of for a slight BS reason why, where this one's just a little bit more than a slight BS reason why. Now, I understand people were probably not going to like the story. I didn't really pay attention to any of the reviews, because you know what? Most of the reviews, I can't even trust them anymore, so I don't even think on much of them reviews anymore. But this is the thing, is that everything that's been done with this game is completely from the ground up, based on over the top. Everything, action, tone, speech, people he interacts with, everything is designed crazily from over the top nature, and it shows within its gameplay, it shows within its mechanics, and you could just see just the scenes themselves you're seeing right now, they are so designed for over the top nature that in and of itself, you cannot help but at least chuckle at some of the stupid jokes, or get this sense of adrenaline pumping through your system going, holy crap, it's cool, it's crazy, over-the-top shooting, killing, explosions all over the place. Because that is, from its initial core, what it's trying to do, and something that it massively, entirely succeeds at, that it does not fail at. Though, as I said before, the only thing I think is wrong with it is that the only thing that I think is what I consider maybe a possibly valid criticism is that I think there's a hair bit too much emphasis on only using the sword, but that is not a problem. That's why I don't think it's entirely a valid criticism. Though I would like to see the guns a little more powerful and more use, but that's just me personally, which I understand that those are those own problems. Thank you for listening. Please tell me what you think. Please give Shadow Warrior a try if you do like hack 'em slash 'em games that are crazy, silly, over the top. If you like classic old style games that it's all designed to be crazy and make you laugh and have a good time, you're probably gonna like this. They do have a very good cornucopia of enemies you have to face, a good amount of variety of weapons, and something that I would say that you probably are not going to want to put down for any time soon. And definitely give this a look. And thank you, and good night.